Good morning. It's Saturday, April. Let's try that again. It's Saturday, April 19th. And we're here at the National Tulip Library at the Tidal Basin in Washington, D.C. Now, during the rest of the year, the tulips will be pulled out and other annuals will be planted, and it will be called the National Floral Library. But during these weeks, it's all about the tulips. And I'm not quite awake today. Didn't have any caffeine yet this morning. So this is an area right off of Independence Avenue, right at the Tidal Basin. And you can see the Washington monuments right here. A little overcast today, unfortunately, but that's okay. The flowers still look wonderful. So we'll just take a walk through here, and then we'll walk east on Independence Avenue to see some other gardens around the federal buildings in this area. And I'm not going to do a lot of talking today. We'll just look at the flowers and listen to the birds. Oh, these are some of my favorites. I don't know tulips. I don't know flowers very well. I have to start to learn a little bit more. But I like the shape of these and definitely love the color. Hello to everyone in chat. Tell us where you're from. I'm in Washington, D.C. at the National Tulip Library on Saturday, April 19th, checking out all the blooms. Hi, World of Love. Hello, Kyle. Hi, Kyle. Oh, wonderful. Hi to Arizona. Hello, Stephen. We're in Washington, D.C. We're at the National Tulip Library, which actually has been renamed the National Floral Library. I should start to use the right name. But you can see we're right just a few steps from the Washington Monument. Oh, California. Oh my gosh, it's quite early there. Thank you for joining. Yeah, it's about, 7:45 here, so it's not even 5 o'clock where you are. Thank you for joining. Yeah, I wish I knew the names. They don't have the little placards with the names of these varieties. And I don't know enough about flowers. But I thought I'd walk down here. We're going to take a look at the beds here. As you can see, I'll pull up. There's a number of beds all around the Tidal Basin. And hello, Shipke, if I'm saying that correctly. Oh, thank you, Stephen. Yeah, thanks for joining. I live and work in and around Washington, D.C. So on weekends, I try to live stream from different places around the city. I love architecture and history, but today I thought flowers were the order of the day. So thanks so much for joining. All right, these obviously bloomed early. They're quite done. We'll work our way around these beds. These are beautiful. Hey, good morning, Highlander. Good morning. Yeah, so I'm at the Tidal Basin. You can see the water over there. This is where we were just 2 weeks ago looking at the cherry blossoms. And obviously they've all There's all leaves on the trees now. No more pink blossoms. But this is the national, what used to be called the National Tulip Library. It's now the National Floral Library. And we're gonna check out these blooms. And then we're gonna walk down Independence Avenue and check out some of the other gardens around other federal buildings in this area. Yeah, some were early bloomers. They're done. Oh, these are beautiful. Look at those. Wow. How many subs do I have? I hit 500 last week, which was just unreal. I'm not a real YouTuber at all. I'm just someone who likes history and architecture, and I'm happy to bring everyone along with me, and miraculously 500 or more people think that's a cool thing too. So I'm really grateful. Look, there's one little misfit in here. One little mutant in the middle of all the yellow. It's actually quite beautiful. And these little, I guess we would call these crocuses. I don't know, so please correct me. They don't have the little placards on the beds, so I'm lost. We'll check out these fuchsia ones. Again, one little mutant. I love that. Life finds a way. Highlander, are you working today? Oh, here's one bed that's completely done. Little buggies flying around today. I love these. Kind of the fluffier petal. I don't know my flowers, so I'm probably using all of the wrong terminology here. Oh, only 11 more hours to go. All right, well, I hope it goes by quickly for you, Highlander. Yeah, so yesterday I was in Philly. I did the steps. I didn't fall down, thankfully. I did the Italian market where Rocky ran through. So yeah, I hit some of the locations. Look, another little mutant. There's like one mutant. Maybe it's a game. Maybe it's a game. You've got to find the one mutant in every bed. Oh my gosh, all these little bugs today. Back to these guys. Gorgeous. What a nice variety. Those are kind of done. Oh, look at these. Oh, nice. I know. Easter, I did the candy run earlier in the week. And then I picked up my youngest from college yesterday. That's why I was in Philly. So that worked out really well with the Rocky. And I got to do all the baskets tonight. Oh gosh. And I have to pick up the cake, the Easter cake. Well, World of Love, thank you so much for joining. It's very nice to meet you. So glad I could bring a little spring. Oh, I like these. I'll have to go back through this video and try to find the names of these tulips. I'll have to get a good old Brex catalog. That's a tulip catalog. And check them out. These are huge. So these are much larger than the other tulips. And this nice mix here. Yeah, when I was in Philly, the big fountain on Benjamin Franklin Parkway, all the flowers around there, of course managed by the Pennsylvania Horticultural Association, I think that's what it's called, that runs the big Philly flower show. They had done just a mix of tulips and hyacinths and all kinds of other flowers. Just such beautiful color combinations. I like this one too. I do like the peachy pink. I'm not a pink person. In my garden at home, we do no pink. It's my one rule, no pink. We have white, we have purple, we have yellow, but we have a no pink rule. I just don't care for it. It's just me. Hey Daly, good morning. We're at the National Floral Library in Washington, D.C. checking out the tulips on the day before Easter. This is at the Tidal Basin, which you can see over there, where we were just a few, like 2 weeks ago, checking out the cherry blossom. And those blossoms are all gone. All gone. Now that's a red. That one's really nice. And last weekend we were at the DuPont Circle Farmers Market on Sunday. And I had so many people viewing. I ended up with, what was it? I don't know, like hundreds and hundreds of views. But the stream kept cutting out because of the horrible cell phone service in that area. So that was a bummer. I looked down, I had like 50 people watching, and then the stream cut out. So if you were watching, thank you. We have a pretty famous rose garden not far from where I work. It's nice to take a stroll through on a very cool afternoon. Oh, I worked, when I worked for a certain government agency that had a facility in Thomasville, Georgia, which I had never been to before, and I had to go there. And I found out it's like the rose capital of the United States is Thomasville, Georgia. Never heard of it. But I got to go through all the gardens there, which was pretty cool. And that was years ago. These guys are about done. It's so great. They all bloom at different times. And there's actually a bed over here that hasn't bloomed yet. And that's what we try to do with our beds at home, is like plant varieties that will bloom at different times. My great big cat mint bushes have taken over. That is such a red. Well, Highlander, that's awesome. It's not Thomasville, Georgia then. And these guys haven't bloomed yet. And these guys, well, you'll have to go to Thomasville and take down all their signs. I have to go study. I need to learn a little bit about flowers. These don't look like your traditional tulips. Someone in chat will correct my ignorance. That makes for a really good photo right there. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's the same way. So here, you know, we live on the Chesapeake Bay. So even though crabs are expensive, they're 100 times more expensive any place else you go. Like here, you're going to pay, you know, $60 a dozen. But I know elsewhere, they're paying over 100 a dozen. Oh, wow. Highlander. That's so cool. All right, I'll have to do my research. I planted roses, and I love my father-in-law. He's no longer with us. He was such a great guy, but he was a gardener. And when he moved in and lived with us, he was beginning to decline, and he had dementia. And at the end of the season, when my roses stopped blooming, he went out and ripped them all out like they were weeds, and he threw them all away. So I lost all my rose bushes. Bless him. I miss him. But I also miss my roses. I had been growing those for like, I don't know, 6 or 7 years by the time he pulled them out. These are really nice. That's a lot of color there. That's kind of yellow, pink, peach. Beautiful. And then these stripy ones, these are like peppermint stripes. Love that. Oh, that's so beautiful. All right, pause for a moment. I'm going to take a photo. So the stream will pause just for... I'm back. I hope it's back. So if you're in Washington, D.C., you know what I always say. Visit the monuments and memorials. And here's some knucklehead that's done some clipping, because obviously it looks like a little bouquet here. Obviously, don't pluck the flowers, right? That's not what they're here for. They're not here for plucking. They're here for studying, actually, and admiring. So we're just steps from the Washington Monument. Between if you were walking from the Washington Monument to the Jefferson Memorial, you cannot miss the National Floral Library. Come up here and get one more sweeping shot. You know, there are so many little, and now I'm near the traffic. There are so many little places in Washington, D.C. If you just stay on the National Mall, you might miss a lot. And there's a lot on the National Mall, right? That's where all the Smithsonian museums are and the monuments. There's Jefferson's Memorial right there. But that's it. Like, you have to walk off of the beaten path away from the National Mall to find these cool... Okay, this bee is going to get me. To find all these things and these wonderful places. Well, I hope you do, Highlander. So once all the tulips are done, the bulbs will be dug up, lovingly stored for the next season. And then the annuals will be planted. So we'll come back here when that happens to check out all the annuals. But there are other gardens to enjoy in Washington. I just want to find the best place to cross the street. Okay, we'll go. I don't like crossing at a not crosswalk, but that crosswalk is way down there. So we're gonna cross up here when it's safe so to do. But there are other gardens all throughout Washington, D.C., around many of the federal buildings. And this little corner here, south of the Washington Monument, is the home to the Department of Agriculture. So, of course, the Department of Agriculture is going to have its own gardens, and the Smithsonian also has its own gardens. So as soon as we can cross, we're going to head over to the Department of Agriculture. Take one last look back at the Floral Library and all the people admiring the blooms. All right, I'm safe now. Yeah, this corner gets just... Hey, Daryl! Daryl, I just visited the National Floral Library. I took a walk through all of those beautiful tulips over there. And now we're going to go head over to the other gardens in this area. So I'm walking east and I'm heading toward the Department of Agriculture buildings. And there's the Washington Monument. Daryl, I don't know how that happened. I know. I got something crazy like 54 over, like in the last 28 days, so March and April, 54 people have decided they want to hang out and do historical little walks with me. So thank you. And thank you for being such a great supporter. I really appreciate it. So we're walking toward Independence Avenue. And I'm on a little bridge, and right there you can see the Bureau of Engraving and Printing building. It's where they make paper money. Paper money is printed, coins are minted. The United States Mint headquarters is located here in Washington too, but they don't make the coins here. Those are made in Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco, and a handful in West Point, New York. It is. I'm jealous. My lawn is not looking good at all. My lawn, something happened. We didn't have a very dry season last year, so I don't know, but we're in trouble because we cut off our sprinklers a few years ago. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm jealous. This is very green. Getting ready for some rugby today. So all around Washington, D.C., lots of green space. And as I've mentioned, our spaces are public spaces. So as long as you have a permit, you can play lots of sports here. I have played softball on the south lawn of the White House. There are volleyball courts on the National Mall. This is rugby. Gonna happen here soon. There's always soccer/football happening. Oh no. Well, Daryl, you might have to go the old-fashioned way with a little push mower. I quite admire those who attempt to play rugby. Looks quite brutal. It wasn't a sport here when I was in high school or college. Like, no one played rugby here. Heck, most people didn't play soccer. It was all basketball, softball/baseball. Where I'm from, in Baltimore, everybody played softball or baseball. Everybody. All right, we are at the corner of 15th Street and Independence Avenue. And we're gonna head over to the gardens at the Department of Agriculture and the Smithsonian. But I think I'm gonna cross since I have the opportunity right now so to do. Have I watched Companion yet? No. If that's something I should check out, I will. Please join us for Film Club later, where we are reviewing Rocky. And I think my live stream from yesterday is done uploading. Man, it takes forever. I visited the Italian market and the Rocky Steps and the Rocky statue yesterday in prep for Film Club. All right, I'm walking east. We'll take a peek at these buildings and then we're gonna walk around the back. So the red brick structure here is part of the Department of the Interior. It's the, I hope I get this right, I think it's the Bureau of Land Management building. But it's part of the Department of Interior. So under the Department of Interior is Land Management, the Forest Service, and our national parks. And you know I'm a huge fan of the national parks. Hello, Haroon. Hi, we're in Washington, D.C. We just took a look around the National Floral Library to check out the tulips. And now we're heading to the Department of Agriculture. So this building here, built in 1879. So I did a prior video documenting a march of the Union Army from Virginia toward the Maryland campaign on September 6th, 1862. And I walked the entire march through this part of Washington. So I walked from 14th Street, the Long Bridge, all the way up 14th Street, past the White House, down Pennsylvania Avenue, over to Georgetown. And then on a different day, I walked through Georgetown. But anyway, during that video, someone had asked me if this building was here during the Civil War, and it was not. Although it looks common to that era, it's just a little bit later, 1879. So this building was not here. And this is where the U.S. Forest Service is housed. And then this massive complex, all the way from here, all the way down Independence Avenue, crossing the footbridge, and then this building here, this is all the Department of Agriculture. And in a different video, we'll take a really good look at that building because it does have some really great artwork around the windows, some really nice architectural features. But today we're all about flowers. So today we're gonna head up to the garden and skip the building itself. Hey, Ben! Ben, hello. Yeah, I did the Rocky Steps, but I forgot my kazoo, Daryl. I was not gonna do a kazoo. That wasn't gonna happen. Can I do this without getting killed? Okay, please don't do as I do. Oh, I got the walk. Ha 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 ha. It was okay for me to cross. All right. So this is where we are. And now we're going to head up closer to the National Mall so we can check out the gardens. We'll do a quick little jaunt. And then I will end the stream and go do my Easter stuff. Have to pick up the cake. Keep reminding myself not to come home without the, well, cakes. We had these little cakes made this year for Easter. It's a great soundtrack. The main theme, of course, is iconic. The final theme, which is called The Final Bell, is actually my favorite song from the Rocky soundtrack. I mean, the main theme is great, but the final bell, I like it better. And then from the later Rocky movies, of course, you get Survivor, which is great. All right, let's orient ourselves here. We're at Jefferson Drive. So this side of the National Mall, the small street, is Jefferson Drive. On the other side, it's Madison Drive, appropriately. This is 14th Street. There's the Washington Monument. I'm kind of seeing some blue starting to peek through those clouds. It would be so nice if we got a little bit of blue sky today. Thank you, Daryl. And we'll just walk down here to, hopefully, the gardens. I got a lot of steps in yesterday, and it got really warm. It was, I think it was 50 degrees when I started the day yesterday. It was 77 when I left Philly yesterday. So I was wiped out. Got a few more thousand steps than I normally do, which is all good. Ben, I hope you're having a great day so far. I know it's super early. Hope you're having a great day so far. Hope you have something fun planned for today. So this is what is called the main agriculture building, and you saw where there was a walkway across Independence Avenue to another building. Different styles. This one, obviously, you can see the classical style here, but both really beautiful, very detailed, quite iconic. And of course, a very important part of our government. Faye, good morning. It's so great to see you. So when I post this video, which probably won't be until tomorrow because it takes hours for these things to render, check out the beginning of this video. I was at the National Tulip Library and it was beautiful. So check that out, Faye. And now we're in the front of the agriculture building. I'm gonna try to back up a little bit more. It's a big building. Hard to get the whole thing in one frame. And I will slow down. I know I walk too fast. And those are our little bikes. Ours are green. I know in London they're blue and red. Our bikes are green. Everybody's out running today. And scooting on their scooters. All right, that's our agriculture building. Huh. And that's a recent removal there of that tree. And the National Mall. And just across the way you can see that's the Museum of American History. And then just up the way, which you can't see from here, is the Natural History Museum. That's where you find the dinosaurs and the Hope Diamond and a gemological collection that my grandfather contributed to. My grandfather was a micromineralogist by hobby, meaning he broke up rocks and looked at them under a microscope and then began photographing them through a microscope. He was a pioneer in that hobby. All right, I see First Garden. Let's head over. Oh, hey, Faye, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did. And this is another area, and I probably give away my secret, but I don't think millions of people will watch this video. So folks come to Washington, D.C., and yes, definitely take the metro, right? This is the Smithsonian Metro stop, right around here. Definitely take the metro. However, if you want to drive, look at all this parking. If you get here early, it's 8:20 now on a Saturday, there's plenty of parking. You can park on these two roads, Madison Drive to the north, Jefferson Drive to the south of the National Mall. You do have to pay on Saturdays. We learned in a prior video when a guy was starting to pay on a Sunday and a security guard came up and was like, don't pay, you don't have to pay on Sunday. You have to pay every day except Sunday. But it's actually really reasonable. Don't quote me. I think for 3 hours today, it was $3.50 or so. So it's like, or maybe $3.75. So it's like $1.25 an hour. That's super reasonable. If you go a few blocks up into the garages, you're gonna pay something crazy, like $10 for the first hour and $35 for 4 hours. So I know people don't want to drive to DC. I do every day. So there's always plenty of parking, even on a work day. It's not impossible. So here's a little garden here. It's the container garden container gardening garden. Compost. And it's great if you work in Washington, D.C. There are so many green spaces to take a break during work. It's never more than a few steps to find a quiet green place. As well as a little library. We have these little libraries everywhere, not just in Washington, but in Maryland. And some raised beds. And the early season plantings are in. So there's lettuce. There's greens here. Nice. And obviously there will be much more once the season gets going. Several years ago, I started coming to these gardens in the winter. Hello, Julio. Welcome. Let us know where you're from, Julio. This is the People's Garden here at the Department of Agriculture, appropriately. I started coming to these gardens after the first frost. Oh, there's red beets. Like, those red beets are like really early. I started coming after the first frost and taking photos of particularly roses after they had frozen. And it was quite beautiful. All the dead flowers and, you know, roses and things, grasses, actually look quite beautiful. So I have some good photos. So this time I'll video, because I wasn't a YouTuber back then. So I'll definitely have to do that after the frost. So we're walking east on Jefferson Drive. I was hoping the sun was coming out, but now it's getting cloudier. And now we have a couple of the art galleries around the main Smithsonian building, which is called the Castle. So we'll get a really good view of the castle. Oh, Faye, that's wonderful. This is the Freer Gallery of Art. Which is the National Museum of Asian Art. And I was here for a porcelain exhibition. And it was quite amazing. Just about every museum you may want to visit in Washington, D.C. is free. So again, another reason why this is a fantastic place to visit. It's not just for all the history and the museums, obviously, and the memorials, but they're also free. You can't find that in many places. Hi, James. Let us know where you're from, James. So we're just checking out the blooms here in Washington, D.C. We visited the National Tulip Library. There's some snapdragons. I do love snapdragons. And some little mini pansies here among the tulips. And that other thing that I forget what it's called. It'll come to me. It'll come to me. So this is the Ripley Center, the International Gallery, which is kind of underground. You go into this entrance, and then you go underground. And now we're at the castle. So we're at the back of the castle, which is the main Smithsonian, the original Smithsonian building. And for those of you who are not from the US, you keep hearing me say Smithsonian, Smithsonian. So this dude in England many years ago was so interested in the ideals of America and the ideas of exploration and science and trying new things that he willed his entire estate to the United States for the purposes of learning and creating a museum. And we're so grateful for him, because what it's created is this network of amazing museums: the National Zoo, the National Air and Space Museum, the National Postal Museum, a lot of the places I've been, that are all free for the public because of Mr. Smithson in England, who actually never set foot in America, left all of his money to create a museum, and it's turned into what we have today. There were buffalo here at the castle before they were moved to the National Zoo. Cool. And I've done a video on this building, but I will do a much more detailed video when I get some film from inside the castle. Now, the Smithsonian Gardens, they do have the little placards. So here we see this is a narcissus. No, he never came to America, but he's buried here. His body was flown here, and he's buried in this castle. Yep. But we are smack in the middle of bustling Washington, D.C. And any day at lunchtime or whenever, people can just come here and sit in these gardens and enjoy the birds. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Wow. And I was just gonna say, including this beautiful formal garden, wow. Hello, Milan official. Wow. So we'll get to the other end and try to get a really good view of this formal garden. I like white flowers and blue. I love white and blue and purple together. So this just caught my eye. So all these Smithsonian buildings are essentially, so I think he would be buried there. Yeah, he created quite a monument to himself. Quite a monument to himself here. And we are so lucky for it. The National Botanical Gardens, I could go on and on and on and on. And then here's the Sackler Gallery. We looked at the Freer Gallery on to the west of there. And there's some, I think that's Forsythia over the fence there, the bright yellow. So this is the Enid Haupt Garden. Well, thank you, Enid Haupt. 3 distinct gardens. The design of each reflects, wow. The Fountain Garden, located beside the National Museum of African Art, was modeled after the Alhambra, a 14th century Moorish palace and fortress. Oh, okay, so we're gonna go over. No, we just came through Fountain Garden. Did we come through there? We did. We did, so that one wasn't planted yet. Wow, just take a look at this though. Let's get that view. Try to lift the camera up here. The curse of being short. And I'm not gonna stand on a bench. That would be dangerous. Climbing up is never the problem for me. It's climbing back down. The parterre. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna pause the stream just for 1 second. Hang on, everyone, I'm gonna take a photo. Really, we should be back. I'm sorry, I know it pauses the stream when I take a photo, and I shouldn't do that. But every once in a while, I see something that I'm worried I'm not gonna see again. Now okay, here is the National Museum of African Art. And I like that. I like that. I like those colors. And there's no little plaque to give us some information about this. I mean, it looks like a scarf or a garment kind of in the wind. I could be completely wrong. But I like that. And everyone wants their photo taken in front of this beautiful garden. James, yeah, I agree. You did it wrong though. It's supposed to be 58008 because when you flip it upside down, that's when it reads that word. Okay, let's head over to the Fountain Garden. Baltimore Oriole. Baltimore Oriole. But in every little nook, places to sit, places to chill. Fountain's not on yet, but when the fountain's turned on, that would be pretty neat. I guess the water comes cascading down the back. We did see the big fountain on Ben Franklin Parkway yesterday in Philly. And it was a hot day. It looked quite inviting. Quite inviting. The Fountain Garden. Quite beautiful. Spencer Fullerton Baird, second Secretary of the Smithsonian Institution, pioneer in American natural history. Well, thank you, Spencer Fullerton Baird. What a nice area. And because of his generosity, because of Mr. Smithson's generosity, we have these wonderful places to sit and enjoy. Those are very pretty. Container gardening here won't be until, for me, because I don't know. These places are okay to plant now. Number one, they're planting relatively hardy varieties, right? The pansies, snapdragons, those sort of things. But for regular everyday folks who don't have a full-time staff to care for their flowers, here in the Mid-Atlantic, do not plant until after May 15th. That's the safest day to avoid a frost. And this is just beautiful with the little petals falling and the birds. How nice. How nice. Well, thank you all for joining my stream today as we checked out some of the flowers blooming here in Washington, D.C. this day before Easter. If you celebrate, I wish you a very wonderful and blessed Easter. If you don't celebrate, I wish you a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Thanks, everyone. Thanks so much to Highlander. And thanks to Daly. And thanks to Ben. And Faye, I'm so glad to see you. Oh gosh, no, the pink through, what's it smell like? For me, tulips really don't have a smell, but we will come back in like June. When we're here in June and July, we're gonna go through the Rose Library, which is on the other side of the road we just crossed, and those will definitely be quite fragrant. I can't really smell much here. I don't see magnolias here. If you're around the magnolias, you definitely can smell the magnolias. Thank you so much, everyone. If you get an opportunity to visit Washington, D.C., check out all the monuments and memorials, but also take a walk off the beaten path and check out the green space. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.